Welcome back, everyone, to Just a Dude podcast. I'm Nathan, your host, and we're diving into the heart of real-life stories today. We've got an exceptional guest with us, someone who embodies the spirit of resilience, transformation, and chasing big dreams against all odds, Mr. Angel Gonzalez. Angel isn't just another guest. He's a former journalist, turned media leader, turned chef, and now a life coach, speaker, and author. His journey is a testament to how one can transform life's challenges into stepping stones for success. From writing for major publications to navigating the complexities of immigration and career pivots, Angel's story is one of constant evolution and growth. Today, we're going to explore how he turned the adversities of the COVID-19 pandemic into an opportunity for reinvention, focusing on life coaching, resilience, and communication. His book, 17 Faults Parenting Teens, aims to bridge the gap between parents and their children, fostering better understanding and connection. So buckle up as we discuss how to become resilient when the world seems to fall apart, how to dream big no matter what, and how to communicate effectively with those we care about most. Angel, welcome to Just a Dude podcast. Thanks for joining us today.
Nathan. Thank you. Thank you so much, Nathan.
I appreciate you being here with us. I just wanted to, your background's so unique. I just wanted to give you an opportunity to kind of explain your journey from where you started and how you went through the pandemic and where you are now.
Well, Nathan, imagine I can start since I was 7 years old, but I'm going to try to make it short here. I am a life coach, first of all. I work as a transformational coach. I help people to resolve issues that they have in their blockage, and I work with them to get results. Whether you are in a situation in which you need to overcome any challenge or you need to come back from any pitfall that you experience in life, whether it's on business, relationships, or just for your personal growth, I work with them from different approaches in life. Now, it didn't happen just by casual. It wasn't a random issue that, I landed here as a coach and started doing this. I experienced a huge journey during my life that took me across different transitions. And those transitions start building this persona that you have in front of you right now. Everything started probably in 2000 when I started working as a journalist. When I started my career as a journalist, I got enrolled into the university just leaving the high school. I finished high school in July, and by September I was already studying in college. So what's happening is my path, my studies in journalism. And by the second year of my study, I was already working as a journalist. I was working as a junior reporter in a TV channel. Then I went to a newspaper. Then I jumped to another newspaper. I started building up my career until I got burned out. Because journalism isn't an easy profession, nevertheless, in Venezuela. I was experiencing all sort of issues as a journalist back then. I was 20 years old, probably younger than 20 years old in that moment. And everything was happening so fast, the social crisis, the political crisis, the violence. So in a moment, I started working as a reporter. And the other day, I was already capped by the government. I was working with offices and start creating being part of all this disaster. And when I started looking at it, I decided to just stop that and leave the governmental offices and start doing something completely different from where I could help people with their real needs. So I decided to start a company. It was my first official business. I started a company with an associated, and we create something that was so unique in the middle of the crisis in Venezuela back in 2010. We create a food supplier that was actually affordable because if you are familiar with the financial crisis of it there,
Yeah.
all the prices of products were going up and up every single day. There was no many options for the people. There were no many opportunities for people get anything that they wanted. And what I did, I started hunting literally in the whole country the products that people needed every single day at home. And I didn't charge 100% of their cost. I was charging just as little as possible just to make sure that the people could have on their table the food that they needed and even the toiletry in the house because it was really difficult. It was really difficult to afford them. It's you needed to go and put yourself in a line for a couple of days just to get a packet of toilet paper, for example. I was
Wow.
getting all those stuff from everywhere in the country, bringing it to the communities, making sure that it was on the right price, that they could afford it without having to put themselves into a line. Of course, it wasn't nationwide. It was something really focused on certain communities that needed,
Sure.
but I lived out of it for 2 years. For 2 years, I lived out of this service, and it was really, really fulfilling. From my connection with the people, my connection with the community started with my intention to bring in the reality, the truth about what was happening in the world, about
Hmm.
what was happening in the country to the people through my career as a journalist. But in service to the people, I decided to do this activity. Afterwards, the crisis went up and up. I had
Yep.
to close that company at a certain point because it was unbearable, the crisis.
Yeah,
And
I
I
have to
have to
assume
go
that
back to journalism.
that
Yes,
you reducing the cost that you had to try to make it more
yes,
affordable, that probably
yes,
just made it so expensive for you that, yeah, now trying to do good, you're now hurting yourself because you can't
yes.
afford it.
Indeed, the transport, it was an issue because you doing this activity, traveling the whole country to find the products that people needed, you need to keep the vehicles in right
Oh, yeah.
state, in a good state of repair. And there were no pieces. There were no pieces to repair the vehicles. Get a wheel, it was really, really difficult. I have to, while I was traveling, I was buying stuff everywhere where I saw
Right.
because it was impossible to find the pieces to repair the vehicles as
Man.
much as it was impossible to find the food or to find the toilet paper or anything that people needed. So it was a really good service. I was very connected with that mission, but it was unbearable. And all of a sudden in 2012, the financial crisis went really crazy. And not as much as it is today, unfortunately, but it was
Right.
really difficult. And I had to close that company. I went back into journalism and I did it for a few more years. I started working as a social media marketer. I started working in the multimedia, bringing the messages to people, trying to do the best that I could, helping
Hmm.
some brands that were still operating in Venezuela. In 2015, as consequences of the violence, I was targeted for quite a few groups. I took my family and I decided to move to Australia because it was really difficult for us to have to make a living in that
Hmm.
particular moment. I was a target additionally because I was against what was happening and the people in the government have a reference about what I was doing all this time. So
So they
I
wanted to
have to flee
silence
the
you.
country.
Yeah.
Yeah, I decided to leave the country and I came to Australia. But when I crossed the board, I make a decision. Oh, I'm going to tell you this. When I
Hmm.
make that decision, probably in 2014, I decided not to keep going in the path that I was building. I decided to get myself out of the journalism in that moment, out of the issues, the political issues, the social issues, And I explained to my family, I'm going just to live a normal, common life
Yeah.
without headaches. And I
Yeah,
went to
because
hospitality.
I have to say that's got to be a huge change, and I'm sure you didn't take it lightly either to move from Venezuela to Australia. I mean, that's halfway across the world. So, but
It
definitely, it's
wasn't likely. Yes,
if you were being targeted, there's no way that you probably could have stayed, right? I mean, for the safety of yourself and your family, you had to do something
exactly.
different. So it kind of just gave
Back in
you an
the day, I
opportunity.
had a kid. I
Yeah,
had a kid. He was 3 years old, and I was married to a woman there, and the mom of my kid. And it was not safe for me, for my kid, and for my ex-partner in that moment. So that decision changed my life completely. That
absolutely.
decision
Kind of gave you
created,
a clean slate, right, to start all over again.
yes, exactly. And we are talking about, because many people get stuck when they have to start over something. So if you face, for example, failure, if you face a transition, a big transition in your life, people get stuck into this because they don't know how to do it, or they feel scared, or people usually start overthinking about it, what's going to happen, because it's something uncertain. And for me, it was really uncertain. I didn't speak English at all. I
Right.
started speaking English a couple of years ago. I've been here for 10 years, and I actually get to the point to start talking this way with people with confidence, regardless without any concern about if I was doing properly or not, because I was confident after 5 years being here in Australia. And the reason why is because the same decision that I took to live just a normal life drove me to a point in which I didn't have to communicate with people. I went to
Right.
hospitality. I become a qualified chef, and I worked in kitchens for 9 years in Australia. The only thing that I needed to communicate was yes, yes, chef, yes, chef.
Right.
Those were the three things that I have to say. I didn't have to say any other thing. I didn't have to share ideas. I didn't have to leave, build a message, create a structure. No, the only thing that I needed to actually speak in English was yes and yes, check. That's it. So
That's all you needed.
I lost that part of me for many years, which was the part of communicating.
Hmm.
I felt that I was dying, my friend. I
Yeah, I
felt
can
that I was
imagine.
dying because I started my journey as a journalist. My whole life was communicating ideas, was talking to people, connecting to people. And all of a sudden, for a few years, the only thing that was required from me was cooking chicken parmas, cooking risottos, and saying, yes, chef. I was
That was
dying
it, huh?
emotionally, mentally, everything. And I started looking for options. I started looking for a getaway there. And COVID happened. COVID
Right.
happened in 2019. I'm
So
going to
yeah,
tell you
talk about
something, Nathan.
communication was already a struggle. Now COVID-19, where they take everybody and say, get away from each other.
We went to lockdown. The only people that I was talking to was my wife and my kid, and I didn't have the command of the language to find a different job. In lockdown, where the jobs opportunities were really, really little, really, really low,
Yeah.
without income, with a family to feed, and not being able to communicate with people. In that moment, I understood that if the pandemic don't kill me, this limited this limitation that I have is going to kill me, because I won't be able to get a job. I won't be able to get a life again just
Hmm.
by saying yes and yes, check. I enrolled myself into a counseling diploma. I needed that help, and I found a way studying it to help myself to go through this process. I enrolled myself into a counseling diploma. I start hanging out with the Tony Robbins people.
Hmm.
I went to the first UPW virtual. I was there, and then I got all sorts of information relating to coaching. I was listening every single day, hours and hours and hours of recording regarding coaching, regarding personal development. I started listening all sort of podcasts, everything that I could listen just to get information in education. And what's happened? I start feeling confident to speak because I was able to understand the language. I was able to understand someone like Tony who speaks 1,000 miles an hour.
Right. Yeah.
That morning, when I understood everything that he was saying, I feel confident to start communicating and to start changing my life. My friend, I start working hard on my counseling diploma. I start working hard on coaching. I start building a brand. I open few accounts in social media. I enroll myself into different certifications. I got engaged into this process so deep that I start becoming that person, that the coach, the one who was concerned about the mental health of the people, the one who was concerned about the personal growth of the people, the one who was concerned about raising a kid with self-awareness. So everything came together in that particular moment.
And
I start building up this. Yes.
Yeah, and it's kind of amazing because you can even see as you built into this, you're still using your past of wanting to help others and communicate and get that information out there. And now you've come into being a coach on your own, which is kind of, that's pretty amazing to consider that you went through all these changes, went halfway across the world to flee from the challenges and the targeting of your home country, and knowing no English, learning it, enrolling in a program. I mean, if that's resilience, if that's the definition of it, if I've never heard it before.
Exactly. If you look at what is the resilience concept, the resilience concept is the ability that people have to bounce back or to bounce forward from a pitfall. And I'm telling you, I felt that I was dying just saying yes, chef, and cooking chicken parmas and risottos and pastas. I'm not gonna lie, I enjoyed so much what I was doing because I am passionate about what I'm doing. If I'm going to jump into something, I put everything that I have in myself to make sure that things happen the right way. So I learned the career, I learned the path as a chef, but I was dying inside because communication is my thing.
Yep.
Communicating with people, connecting with people, and I couldn't achieve that in kitchens. Indeed, it was a huge burnout that I experienced working in this particular role.
Yeah, because it's almost in the kitchens, even though there was other people there was no human connection because you couldn't effectively communicate with anybody other than saying, yes, chef.
Yeah, exactly. Of course, you build relationships, but there is something that most people will understand when you are working in a place that you don't feel yourself, that you don't know what's happening, but you know that you don't belong to there. You don't belong to it. Then building relationships is more difficult. For the people who have similar experience to mine, not speaking the same language is make it difficult. Dealing with all the characters is difficult, and particularly the kitchen have some traits, some characteristics in which the mood of the people change every 10 seconds because of the dynamic of the job, the fast-paced environment, or the heat of the kitchen. So many things happen in there that create these emotional changes all the time. And additionally is the commanding, because there are people who try to keep the teamwork as a brigade, something military. And these type of commands are not well received for everyone. I was one of those that didn't receive those commands in the, with a smile and pleased about it. So I was dying, mate. I was dying emotionally, mentally, physically there. And I found during the pandemic this door. I opened that door and start walking the path. I make all sorts of mistakes. I opened up at least 16 different accounts into um, dividing into Instagram, Facebook. I had 8 different email accounts just to trying things over and over again. It was really horrible, and I was experiencing burnout because of the lack of knowledge and the lack of human connection with people because everything was online, and I wasn't sure about what I was doing, although I was enrolling into different programs. Long story short, I started doing this from 2019 till 2022. I felt a certain point that I wasn't going to make it. I had to go back to hospitality during the pandemic because I needed the money. I need to bring food to the table. My second son was born in pandemic, and it was really stressful. My second son was born in June, and I got a job in August. All this time from the lockdown in March 2019 till August, I made $0. I made $0 just standing in the house, studying, sending CVs to the few jobs that were available for out there, and that was it. Looking at my second baby that was going to come to this world and wondering what the heck I'm going to do with 2 kids in the house, no money, no food. Thankfully, there were many charities operating those days. I could find a lot of help from those charities, and they supply with the food, they supply with nappies for the baby, with the self-care products, everything that I needed. I got it through charities during this time.
Oh, that's amazing.
The money.
Yeah.
I needed the money. And I got this job finally in August, and I stuck on it. I was stuck in this job until October 2023. I went through a process in which they try every single thing to break me down. Why? Don't know yet. I'm trying to find out why they did all this stuff. But the psychological war was every single day. It was horrible. The environment went nasty. The leadership wasn't there. The teams the working teams were every single day worse and worse. Every single word had a second meaning. Every single action had a second meaning. Basically, it was everything prepared for me to just burn out into hospitality and don't walk back to it. I thank every single day now that I didn't turn back to hospitality because although back in probably in 1996, I have a dream to become a chef. Today, I can tell you, it was a good fun. It was fun to learn few things, to learn how to cook the perfect steak. But thank you very much. I'm not going back to hospitality.
But a nice thing about that, though, is that you said when you were younger, that was a dream. And you can at least say, I reached my dream, my goal.
That's right.
And then, hey, when I got there, it wasn't for me.
I'm going to tell you
who knows,
something.
Maybe if you were back in Venezuela, it might have been better. Right, because you would have had the communication aspect, or at least somewhere where they could, understand you a little bit better. But in this case, you really threw yourself in there, and just the extra items of communication. Just I could see how that would be so demeaning to you internally as an individual, just to say, I'm missing this communication part.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. And I tell you something. When I was 7 years old, I decided to become a journalist, and I did it.
See?
At a certain point in my childhood, I had that moment of dreaming how to become a chef, and I did it. At a certain stage in my 20s, I have this dream to live abroad. I'm doing it. So every single goal that I set for myself, I have achieved it, and there are many others, of course, on the list. They are on the line to make just waiting for me to hit them and achieve them. But that's the thing. Those are the different transitions of life that teach people how to be resilient, how to build something and rebuild every single thing that you need to rebuild in order to become successful. So 2023, I got divorced. 2023, I lost my job. 2023, I lost my house, my home. 2023, every single thing that could go wrong went wrong.
Wow.
I released my first book in November 2023. I navigate my challenges, my emotional challenges, studying counseling and coaching. I got certified. I was in the environment. I was coaching people already. I was having conversations, connecting with people every single time, every single day. I started my first program. I started in 2023, and 2024 was the time for me to build the brand as a coach, Angel Gonzalez.
Mm-hmm.
I dedicate every single day, Monday to Sunday, without depleting myself or taking the attention away from my kids. I dedicate every single day to my business. I dedicate every single day to build a brand, to create content, to make sure that there was something that I could do in order to help people to be okay, to be resilient, to overcome their challenges, and to achieve their goals. So today I can say I am a result coach. I am a business coach. I am a coach who is prepared and ready to help you overcome any challenges that you have that may be hinder your growth, that may be holding you back, and whatever you need to resolve. I know that it's possible because there are many chances that I already passed through it. So when someone tell me, hey, man, I have no idea how to resolve this, I got the solution for you. No worries. Let's talk about it. Let's have this conversation and start working the path to transform your life for better.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's a heck of a journey, Angel, to just, I mean, from where you started to where you are now, and now you're a coach, still doing one of the things that I think you found out through journalism and through working in the government with trying to get people the food is you've got that communication, you've got all this experience. I mean, tons of experience. Most people wouldn't even see half of what you've experienced in an entire lifetime. So I think that would definitely say you're qualified to be a coach. But
thank you so much.
Yeah, what would you say were some strategies, or what are some strategies that you would have for overcoming significant life changes and moving forward with purpose? Because obviously that's a big theme with you, is you've had a bunch of significant challenges in your life and you've been able to overcome them. Is there any specific strategy that you used for that?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. There are many strategies, but everything starts with your identity. What your identity is. Your identity is your belief systems, the roles that you play, and your values. That's your identity. That's the result of your identity. When you say, hey, who I am my beliefs, my values, and my roles. When I told you this story of my life, you can see all those transitions that I have navigated. Every single transition comes with the charge of a role that I was playing. I was the junior journalist. I was the businessman. I was the manager director. I was the traveler. I was that. I was husband. I'm still that, sorry. I am that. Yeah, I was a husband. Then I was a student. Then I was a chef. All these roles were part of my identity at a certain point. And all these changes create a new world in my life. So every time that I started a new role, I did unconsciously a change of my identity. I have to transition from one part of who I am to a different part and learn something to make this happen. Right. So the transition, for example, from manager director of a national TV channel to chef, it was a huge transition.
That's a huge transition.
And living this identity, living this role, and adopting this new identity and this role create a significant change in my identity. It created a significant change to the point that in 5 years, I couldn't find myself where I was. But I got conscious about this issue, this particular issue, after I started working on myself after I start working on personal development. But I wasn't aware. And that's what's happening. Many people go through these transitions unaware about what's happening within. And that's why you see at least 80% of the global population unhappy doing what they do, because they are not aware about what's happening inside, why that unhappiness is linked to their identity. And for example, second thing, your values. I can bet that 90% of the global population is unaware about their values. What are the three values, the core values that you live for? That everything that is beyond those three values is not part of you or is not accessible to your life. I have 6 core values, and anything that's coming beyond that can violate those values are not part of my life. And that's how solid my identity is. I don't allow anything that can violate any of those values be part of my life or being in my life. In that way, I make sure that I am authentic every single day and I can live a life knowing that truth speaks through me. Does it make sense?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, aligning your life to your values, or, well, I guess first finding your value, right, or the values that you want to live by, and then living by those and making sure. I love that. I mean, I don't know anybody who could not get behind that idea. That's a great idea.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much. And the thing is that whether you are aware or not, you have values. And that's the other part. There are people that you can ask them, you can finish today your job with me and go outside and ask to your operator, to your family member, hey, what are your 3 core values? And they probably will say, well, maybe for me is XYZ. For me is respect and love. That's the core 2 values. Everything out of the respect or love, we can have a conflict. Because if you violate the respect value, my value of respect, then we are not in synchrony to have a good relationship. If you violate my value of love, if you come with hate, we are not a good match to have a relationship. Does it make sense?
Absolutely.
So, when people understand this intrinsically, they start working on themselves more consciously and they can grow. But what's happening when you are unconscious about it? You start living by the values that the people around you set for yourself. So if you are in a nasty environment, you become part of it and you live by those values, whether you are conscious or not. If you are in a violent environment, you are part of it and you live for those values. What's happening with the people who experience domestic violence? What are the values of that people? They probably wish and dream to have to deserve at some point in life respect and love. But they are in the wrong environment where they get hit every day, when they get manipulated every day, where they get all sorts of negative consequences just for being part of that environment. And those are the values that they live for. Hate, bullying, probable fear, those are the values that they live for every single day, but they are not aware about it because they just live it. They just experience it every day.
They're a product of their environment without thinking about it. They're just letting it in without thinking, what do I really want to be?
Exactly. And that's part of this journey, of the growth journey, of the personal development journey. It's being aware about who the heck you are and what you want in your life, because you need to understand you become the average of the 5 people you spend most of the time with. So if you spend most of the time with the people that abuse you, you become that, and you will abuse someone else's, whether it's your kid, whether it's your mom, whether it's your direct family member. Because when you are in a relationship, I'm talking about domestic violence. When you are in a relationship in which someone is abusing you every single day, what's going to happen next? You will abuse your kid. You will abuse your direct family member
You
because
pass it
that's
on.
what you
Yep.
that's what you live. That's what you experience. That's the value that you are experiencing every single day. And that's why this model also replicate and multiplicate every single day. What we want is to multiplicate this model, the model of personal development, the model of personal growth, the model of being and becoming and learn how to be resilient. In that way, we foster more opportunities to grow and improve the quality of the life of the people in this society.
Yeah.
And that's what I bet for.
So how in those situations, how do we become resilient when the world falls upon us like that?
I'm so glad that you asked me because I'm going to explain you this way. I talk about resilience exactly under that frame. I speak about resilience how to be resilient when the whole world coming to you and you are like this trying to hold everything. And many people, the whole world experiencing 2019. And every single day, someone is losing a job, someone is getting divorced, someone experiencing any sort of violence, someone is experiencing something in their life where that make them feel that the world is coming upon. Now, first thing is be aware of the issue. This is happening. This is happening. It's not a story. It's not a lie. It's happening. This is what's really happening, and I need to be aware of it. Number two, be aware of what's happening inside you. So what I feel, what I am experiencing inside, what emotions this is generating in me, and what can I do? Those three questions those three topics are a must to be aware about what's happening. Now, the point here, and I want to illustrate it this way. Did you watch Rocky?
Yes.
The movie Rocky? Did you watch all six?
I think I have. Yeah, I think I have. I have to think. I'm pretty sure I have.
I am a fan of Rocky, and I watch all six movies. Now, what's happening in Rocky 1? The whole world fall on Rocky. And it was crushing and pushing down every single time. Yes? Now, what he did, what he got to achieve was really amazing. He was broken emotionally, he was broken financially, he was broken mentally. And he engaged in an activity that he loved. Whether you are a lover of boxing or a hater of boxing, that was the activity that he loved. He was good for it. And with all the pain, physical pain, emotional pain, mental pain, he breaks through it and he got to start building a career. Now, what does it tell you? You need passion. You need passion and the decision to make things happen in order to break through when the world is falling upon you. Now, if you watch Rocky 2 was the best moment for him because he was coming from the version of this guy who was totally broken, who had nothing to offer, to someone who was already recognized and who got to defeat the champion in his ways. So he got to defeat the champion, he got to be recognized, and he was already someone who people was talking about, someone who could provide for his wife, someone who was experiencing something different in life. That tells you that you need to be resourceful. That tells you the number one, passion, second one, resourcefulness. The third one, what is showing you? It's showing you a guy who got to the pinnacle of the career, who got to build wealth, who has the house of his dream, put on the table, everything that he wanted, fame, people loved him because who he was. But he got into that issue that many people experience in life, and he got cocky. He started living out of this stereotype that was dragging him down. And that's exactly what happened to him. He fall down again because he wasn't prepared for the level of success that he experienced. Now, the reality is that when he went down emotionally, he was broken again. He got again into the loss, into the grief, into the issues that he experienced once upon a time. But this time, he wasn't starting from zero. He was already Rocky. He was a referential for the people. So he could rebuild himself and start and understand, hey, what I miss in this movie, I miss the training. I miss the everyday training. I miss the eye of the tiger. I miss the both eyes. In order for me to be successful, this is what I did. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to do it again, and I'm going to double it. Because when I double it, I'm going to make sure that this won't happen again. So Rocky 3, for me, is the perfect example of a resilient man. A man who is able to overcome the challenge when the world falls upon you. Because you did it once, you did it twice, and you are going to do it for third time. And no matter the size of the challenge, and I'm talking here about Rocky 4, it doesn't matter the size of the challenge, I'm going to face it, I'm going to defeat it, I'm going to overcome it, and I'm going to make sure that I come back in a better position than I was before. At the end of the stage, on Rocky 6, you see the last stage of life where people want to be just settled, where people want to live life. He started a small business, a family business, just talking to people, connecting to people, and making sure that he could fit the tummy of someone into his community. That's what I'm talking about here, to be on building resilience. Is the resilience not only to overcome challenge, win, and go to the top of the mountain and take the picture, the Rocky picture. I love that part of the movie. That's the thing, is my favorite. But what's happening after? Are you going to live the rest of your life like that? No. You need to understand that at a certain point, you are going to find your equilibrium, your final balance. And what you give to the world is what actually will speak about who you really were inside. And that's something really, really important. And make sure that understanding these 6 stages of life, which are represented on these movies, is going to help you see yourself as a human being able to overcome challenges. Because it's not just that character, it's not the fictional character that Rocky shows, but it was Sylvester Stallone's life as well at a certain point. And it is the life that many people experience every single day. Now, many people don't know how to do this because they are not aware about their belief. They are not aware, or they just being filled with limiting belief, which makes things harder because you need to overcome first the limiting belief in order to start building something out of it, out of your mind, out of your emotions, and understand that you can decide what values are you going to adopt in your life and what roles you actually want to play, because you are not a podcaster because you were commanded to be a podcaster. You are a podcaster because it's part of your life. It's part of who you are. It shows your ideal of the world, and you want to be connected with people that have different ideas, that have different thoughts and styles, and bring all this together for your audience. So ideally, we step into the roles that resonate with ourselves. And I'm going to tell you something. Communication is so important for me that I started my own podcast as well.
Oh,
it's
excellent.
The Life Coaching Podcast. And the thing with this is that give us the opportunity to share these ideas, these scenarios, these stages with people who have something to share, who have some value to deliver to the people that are able to pick the idea and realize, I can be the next success story. I can be the next happy person, the happiest person in the world, just by my decision and my consistency, taking action every single day.
I love that. That's absolutely. And it's funny because you brought up the podcast, but that's exactly why I started it. I wanted, just like myself, I knew there was people out there that like seeing different views and listening to different people and different viewpoints. And different topics. I love hearing about it and I love sharing it with the world. And, this is a great medium where not only do I get to share your story, but I get to meet someone like you and bring that into part of my life. Resilience. This is amazing, the topic, because I think, just like you said, we've come from such an era with the pandemic of being down. And I know here in the United States where I'm located, we've had a lot of political imbalance back and forth. So it's, I think we're at a point here in my country where I know a lot of us are starting to say, I don't care what your political beliefs are. We have more in common than we don't, so I'm
That's right.
hoping that healing comes in as from our country here, we can become more resilient and realize that we don't need to be so separate and can hopefully focus on being more together.
That's exactly right. And that's the dream. That's the big dream.
Yeah.
How we unite, how we harmonize this world that is so polarized right now. How we can be together without being together, how we can just live in harmony and unity to make sure that we can live a good life. And not just that, but be concerned about how can I improve my neighbor's life as well.
Right.
How can I see in the neighbor the life that I want to build for myself? I'm pretty sure that you are not going to see the life that you want to build for yourself if you have a neighbor who is dealing drugs every single day.
Right.
Yeah.
Not at all.
Or is the center of the criminal band in the town.
Right. That's definitely someone I don't want to associate with.
Exactly. But when we focus with the neighbor, we associate with the neighbor who is focused on growth, who is focused on helping others, who is focused on keeping the community in the proper state and making sure that not violence come in, that not drugs come in, that not that neighbor. And we always have that neighbor that want to see the community working well and being in a great state where the green is green and the brown is brown. That's the neighbor that I want to associate with. And together, in unity and harmony, we can create a huge change. Not in the life of one, but in the life of many.
Many, yeah, absolutely. You could literally change the entire neighborhood.
Absolutely.
And hopefully larger.
Start with one person.
Yeah. And that was my thing when I thought years about starting a podcast, and I said, well, what's one voice going to say? But you never know. One voice, this show could reach, thousands or millions of people and your message come up. This could change the lives of somebody. And that's exactly what you're saying. Our neighbors now are globally, because anybody who listens to this podcast when it comes out is going to have the opportunity to remain or figure out how to become resilient and start building those positive communication types and relationships with people.
Exactly. I'm going to tell you, you don't need to experience the worst of your life to become resilient. You don't want to wait until that happens for you to understand that you can make a change every single day, that you can live your life, the best life possible every single day, just by employing the power of intention. If you employ the power of intention and you decide that today is going to be the best day of my life, regardless what the challenge is, you are going to have that experience, because life is the compound of every single moment that you experience. So you are intentional in building those positive moments in order for you to experience the best life possible. We have only one opportunity, and this opportunity, we need to use it wisely and live a great life. Because why do we have to live in violence? Why do we have to live with all these issues that are happening in the world, when we have the capacity, the unlimited capacity, to create the results that we want for our life, to improve the quality of our lives?
And that helps make us, and even just improving ourselves helps make us a positive role model, so to speak, for those around us.
Exactly, and that's the legacy that we leave. The real legacy that you leave is what you teach to the next generation. What do you want to teach them? Do you want to teach them violence? Do you want to teach them addiction? Do you want to teach them every single vicious that is damaging this world? Or do you want to teach them how to be resilient? Do you want to teach them how to navigate the life as it is and how can improve them I say to my kids every single day, you are a leader. You first are the leader of your life, and you need to learn how to lead, to lead yourself properly. And secondly, you are the leader of the group that you engage with. Not because you need to be the boss or because you need to be ahead, because every single one is a leader that if you put everything together, you can create something marvelous for this world. But what happens when you are in the wrong environment?
Right.
There are negative leaders as well. There are negative leaders as well, but we need to focus on how to build positive leadership rather than keep replicating and multiplicating those negative things that are still causing damage in the world. We need more of the positive and less of the negative, so that way we can create the world that we want to live and the world that we want to live for our kids, for the next generation and the next one. What if we start thinking about what we can do today in order to secure the world that's going to stay for the next 5 generations?
Yeah.
If you wake up this morning and you ask yourself, hey, Nathan, what can I do today to secure that the next generations have something valuable from me? Boom, you start your day working with purpose. The first question that you asked me before, so how I come back when the world is coming on top of me and no purpose? Ask yourself, what can you do today that can secure the world for the next 5 generations? I assure you that you will wake up with purpose every single day, because you will find out that there is not small action. Every single action is big when there is intention in it. And if their intention is to create the positive change for the next 5 generations, I'm telling you that you will do your job with more passion, with more willingness and emotion in order to bring the result that you want.
You get yourself into a nice positive mindset to start your day, and then just let it take wind and go and move.
That's how it is, my friend.
So with this resilience, and then obviously we want to improve ourselves. So what is there's got to be an importance of some ambitious goal setting, right, to make consistent progress. Do you have any recommendations for the listeners on that, on how to make ourselves better and to set those goals for that progress?
So there is something important that I want to rescue here in this question. This was a debate that I had this last week with another group of people that I was working. There are people that think the wrong way out of that statement, how we make ourselves better. And I was talking with this specialist, and he said, well, if you want to make yourself better, it's because you feel that you are not enough. And I want to tell you this, and for everyone that's listening that resonate with that idea, making yourself better means that you have achieved certain point and you want more, and you achieve another level and you want more. It doesn't mean that you are not enough. It means that you want more of the best, that you want more of yourself, that you can demand yourself to improve every single day. And that's why it's called continuous improvement. You can improve every single day, so every single day you are better. And these people were telling me, no, but that means that today you are not enough because you are thinking how to be better tomorrow. No, it means that today you are good and tomorrow you're going to be great. And tomorrow you're going to be good again and you're going to be great the next day, because you are focusing on just a continuous improvement. You are focusing on making sure that you are up to date with your emotions, with your mental state and your physical body every single day. And if you are a spiritual person, please go for it. Keep improving every day, because we need people who is focused on the positive spirituality that create, that shape this world in all 4 dimensions. Now, back to your question.
I love the way you said that, though, because talking, when you first said that, is you're trying to better yourself because you don't think you're good enough. And that resonated with me, because I was like, well, I suppose that could be, but I love the way that you said it better, is because you've reached a certain level and you just want to get to the next level and just keep building and building. Yep. I love that.
Thank you, Nathan. And that's part of life. Sometimes we overthink and we overcomplicate things that's supposed to be simple. these people who I was talking with this particular topic last week, it was a beautiful debate. We talked about this only topic for around 45 minutes. And at the end, we came to the conclusion, well, it's true. We just want to be better. We,
Mhm.
we sometimes people get so rooted into that limiting belief of not being good enough, that something that is present in their life for the whole life. And some of the people that was in that group, they are baby boomer. So
Uh,
this generation that is tough, that they came from a really bad time, but those limiting beliefs were rooted in such a way that is so difficult for them just to break them and understand that they are much better than they think about themselves. So in this new way, in this new generation where we are living of personal growth and personal development, understanding this, it's important because we are shaping the next generation.
right.
We are shaping the generation that it's going to take over and create all the changes that we could dream 10 years ago. 20 years ago. Today, we are in the era of robotics. Today, we are in the
Mhm.
era of commercial space trips. We are in an era of AI.
Yep.
I was listening John Assaraf a couple of days ago. He was telling, well, it is expected that robots are going to, or AI is going to be more intelligent than the human being in just 2 years' time. So if AI is going to be more intelligent than the human being in 2 years' time, don't you want to be motivated to keep working on yourself and growing so you don't allow AI or a robot to make the decision for yourself?
Yep. Absolutely.
I want to make sure that I know who I am, that I am married with my values, my identity, my life, in order to command the AI and not allow the AI command me. Because if we are talking about living by yourself on your own terms versus living by default, so are we going to change this particular issue just in matter of because of AI, or are we are going to make sure that we can keep commanding our life, that we can keep our life under our control? And that's the
Yep.
thing. I love AI. I serve myself of AI every single day. I want to get my robot to help me to clean the house, but I want
Right.
to make sure that I ask the robot to clean the house, not the robot ask me to clean the house. Does it make
Yeah.
sense?
Exactly. Absolutely. Yeah, I think it's funny that you bring that up. And I know we're talking about resiliency, but I think that's a big fear with people is that AI will take over. And I think what you're saying is if we continue to build ourselves better, we can ensure that AI will be a useful tool, but will not be a tool that uses us.
Exactly, exactly. It's important. It's important from the perspective of growth. It's important from the perspective of understanding that we are an extraordinary race. The humanity is an extraordinary race, and we have the capacity, the unlimited capacity to create AI.
I know.
AI didn't come by itself. We
It did.
created. We are the creators of this technology, and it's part of our evolution. I believe in that. In that relationship is merged the creation and evolution. So that's the big evidence of this. We created the AI and the robotics. So
Yep.
we have an unlimited capacity to create the world where we want to live. Now, what type of world are we are going to create? What type of
Right.
world do we want for our next 5 generations? What type of world we want to live? It's important. When you were asking me about how to set those goals,
Yeah.
think big. Think about the goal that you really want to achieve, the things that you want to achieve in 1 year, 6 months, and the things that you want to create for yourself. And maybe if you are a home worker, if you are
Mhm.
working to taking care of your kids and making sure that they have a meal every single day, I know that there are some people there, whether they are men or women, on this role that sometimes they in they put themselves behind a wall, an imaginary wall, saying, "But what can I do to create this world just being at home?" My friend, that's the most important job in life
Absolutely.
because you are taking care of those lives that
And shaping
will
the next
be out
generation.
there,
Yep.
shaping the next generation, shaping their mindset, their emotional beings, their spiritual beings, feeding them every single day to make sure that that human being grows healthy emotionally, physically, and that human being will be able to interact with that society, whatever we're going to live, to interact with that society to shape the world, to be part of this humanity, of this global population that are shaping the world. Now, when I'm talking about setting goals, I'm talking about what are the things that you want to experience? What are the things that you want to attract to your life? What are the things that you want to create in your life, whether they are in 5 or 12 months or 5 years or 10 years? Create that vision for yourself and the people that you are going to impact. So in that way, you create compelling goals that are engaging, that can excite you and can motivate you to go towards them. And that's the main idea of setting goals, because if you set as a goal something that don't really matter to you, that doesn't create any emotion,
Right.
are you going to be motivated for them?
Absolutely not. No.
No. But when I was working as a chef, I wanted certain set of knives. My goal was doing the best that I could to get those knives and grow in order to use those knives in my next role, because I was a good chef. I already left that part of my life behind, but that was a real goal that I set for myself at certain point when I was working on that role. Was it exciting? Heck yeah! I wanted to showcase my skills as well at certain point. But the thing is, you want to do something for yourself and for the people that you can impact that create that emotion, that excitement within, and you can move towards them. Because otherwise, you are going to set a goal, and that goal is going to end up in the rubbish bin, and that's it. And you keep living a life that might not be satisfying or as satisfying as you want. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. Absolutely does. Yeah. I mean, I don't know why you would set a goal that didn't mean much to you anyway, because then it's not a goal. It's just, I don't even know what you would call it. But yeah, generally, and I think that's great that you call that out too, is that we should be setting goals for ourselves, not letting others set goals for us, individually, personally. And we should put good thought in those and make sure that they excite us so that we actually have an opportunity to meet that goal.
Absolutely. And that's the magic, my friend. When you set up a goal that it's really exciting, you do everything that you can do in order to achieve it. That's how I got here. That's how I have the opportunity to speak with you today.
Mm-hmm.
I'm in Australia, coming from Venezuela, long time ago. And we got to meet today here in your podcast because a goal I set and a goal that you set a certain point that encounter in this realm, in this timeline, and that's how we are here talking to each other and with expectation to bring this message to the people out there, to your audience and my audience, and replicate this message as much as possible.
Yeah, it's amazing because it is two goals coming together to make an opportunity for someone else to learn this knowledge, learn how to become resilient, and shape their own lives, the life that they want to live, not necessarily the life that they may have been given, but the life that they can live. And I think that's what's great about your story, is you truly show that if you put your mind to it, you could do whatever you want, even if that includes moving across the world.
Yes, absolutely.
Communication, we're talking about ourselves, but we also talked about neighbors, and I know we're probably going to talk about kids here pretty soon, because I know you wrote a book, How to Communicate and Connect with Your Kids. So what are some good ways to communicate with others, whether it be, our peers or our children? I'll let you take it from there, or whichever way you want to go, or you could do it all.
Thank you. Look, Nathan, thank you for asking me that question, because it's so important. Look at this. We communicate every single day. Every single day we are communicating, whether it's through words or body language. we are communicating something all the time. We are communicating ideas. We are communicating feelings. We are communicating emotions. We are communicating through our work. We are communicating every single time. Now, how to communicate with peers? I believe, and I certainly believe, in being honest. We need to communicate with our peers from honesty. We need to communicate with our peers with the intention to create an honest conversation, an honest space in which we can exchange ideas or information that is going to fit with the things that you want to produce. So how do we communicate with our peer? With respect as well. We need to understand that we are communicating with another human being, and we need to be respectful. We need to be compassionate as well, because sometimes people want to communicate from a state of mind in which things are just straightforward, and I am guilty of that. Things are just straightforward, and there is only one point of view which is available. I'm not guilty of that. You communicate with a peer, you want to be compassionate because you don't know what's happening in that life. You don't know what's happening in that world. And you want to communicate in a way that that person, that other human being, just understand that you know that something is important for you right now. And that communication open an opportunity, open a realm in which things can happen for better. So it's important when we communicate with the intention of understanding, to make ourselves be understood and to understand the other person. Now, how we communicate with our kids? In the same way. We need to be respectful. We need to be honest. And we need to understand. And sometimes in the role of parents, we miss those three. We miss honesty, respect, and understanding in the role of being a parent. Why? People miss this because we are shaped by the previous generations in certain ways. And every single limiting belief, every single attitude, every single behavior coming from those generations were passed on to us, and we start replicating. Now we are in an extraordinary time. This is an extraordinary era in which we are more conscious and we have more opportunities and more channels to start changing this pattern, this behavioral pattern. And how do we do it? We do it through awareness. Mm-hmm. Now, being aware of this creates the opportunity for us to be more focused on how we communicate with our kids. In my book, 70-Fold Parenting Teens, Insights and Strategies to Communicate with Our Teens, I explain 17 different scenarios in which parents fail communicating with their kids, connecting with their kids. Some of those scenarios is workaholism, and people that spend hours and hours and hours just working without any type of connection with regard to their kids. Entrepreneurs, be careful with this. I am an entrepreneur. I spend a lot of hours in my work, and sometimes that build me as well. So understanding this from your own reality and the stories that other people have experienced is important, and that's set in there. Another issue to communicate and connect with your kids is yelling. The yelling parent. How many are guilty of yelling? How many times were you yelled by your mom or your dad? How many times was I just commanded, you need to go and do this?
Exactly. Yeah? Or they use your full name and you know you're in trouble.
Exactly. And those are the type of things that are passed on generation through generation. And we have the opportunity to create a change. Now, there are a different paradigm. There are people who believe that not yelling, not raising the voice, it creates a gap in the relationship with your kid. Now, you don't need to yell to gain respect. Indeed, you gain more respect without yelling, but you just need to exercise your authority. And you need to make understand your kid when they are having issues, when they are experiencing something that is going against the values that you want to teach, the rules in the house, the type of harmony that you want to bring to your family. That's important. But yelling doesn't create respect. That
You know,
creates
that's
fear.
it's such a great point too, because even as adults, I'm sure you working in business, being a business owner yourself, working in a kitchen, um, we're the same way. If someone yells at us, how do we take it, right? We generally shut down, get mad, maybe, or some other emotion that comes in. So absolutely, why wouldn't our children be different? They're just
Exactly.
little versions of us, right?
Exactly. What does it create? Anger, fear.
Fear, yep,
People shut down. People don't want
sadness, yeah,
to be there.
absolutely.
Exactly. Those are emotions. Those are emotions that shape that human being. What do you think that human being is? How is going to be his life or her life, their adult life, if they grow with fear, with anger and sadness? We can see every single day in the newspaper. We can
Yeah,
see every single day on the street. We can
yep,
see that people. We can know today how their childhood was because of how they behave today.
yep.
And that's something that I certainly don't want it, and I know that you don't want it happen for the next 5 generations.
Absolutely not. No, I think we need to not make, but we need to enhance our children, even, our young adults to be, to show them respect, to make sure that they are more respectful and to, like you said, align to those values that we want to not only instill in ourselves, but if they're important to us as parents, then we should instill those into our children as well. And
Yeah,
if we're yelling at them all the time, that's definitely not going to happen. Probably not easily anyway.
that's right. That's right. And it's important for us to understand that the communication is something essential to be able to shape that generation, to be able to create that change, to be able to shape that society, that community, that people that are going to take over. What again? What is the quality of the world that you want to leave for the next generation? What is the quality of the society that we want to leave for the next generation? How do we want the society run over the next 50 years or 100 years? If we don't think about this today, what's going to happen? Everyone's going to be mad? Everyone's going to be angry? Or
We're seeing
everyone's going to be lazy?
exactly, and
Everyone's going to be dominated?
we're almost seeing that now, in our world, and we need to turn that around. We need to do it quickly. And our newest and our youngest generations are the ones that are going to be able to do that if we provide them with the right resources as parents and that give them a good example of resilience and communication. And that's pretty amazing. That's pretty powerful if you think about it. Well, I don't have to tell you,
Absolutely.
you wrote the book, but yeah, it's definitely very powerful.
No, thank you. And it's not just because it's on the book. So this is one of many books. This is one thought out of many thoughts. And if you look at this, 3,000 years ago, there were few people who were able to pass these thoughts. 100 years ago, there were a bunch of people who were working on these type of things. And nowadays, we are a massive army all around the world using technology to bring this message to the people, to more people, in order to create a better world. And if this is happening, this is not random. This is not because a bunch of people wanted to build a multi-billionaire business. That's something that was good. Yay, fantastic. But it's not random. We every single day more and more multipliers of these type of messages because we are concerned about the destiny of this world, about what's going to happen in the future if we don't take care of the present. If we take care of the present, we secure a future. But if we don't take care of the present, what's going to
Then
happen?
we have no
With
future.
all this technology available, with all these things that are not contributing in any way for creating a better world, what's going to happen in that future if we don't take care of this present? So that's something that wake me up every single morning, more motivated to build every single thing that I am building in order to make sure that the next generation is a generation able to think critically and make decisions every single day that are growth oriented, that are future oriented or futuristic vision, because you want to make sure that this next generation has a vision about the world that they want to live.
Yeah.
What if, there are many, many movies that I am a fan of the movies, and there are many, many movies that show this type of future crash that we are destined for.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to believe that's possible. And because I don't want to believe that's possible, my purpose every single day is create something that can help my kids to think critically, and they can pass that thought to their peers, and their peers multiply in the same way with their families and so on. So that's how we take care of the present every single day. We take care of the present, making sure that we multiply.
Yeah, what you just said there, Angel, is I think from a 10,000 foot view, we think about how we interact with our children individually, but you brought up a good point there, is that they go out into society, right? Whether it be school, playing with friends, whatever it may be, depending on their age, and they can exemplify that message that you're instilling in them and possibly give someone else a view to say, hey, you know what? They're happy. Maybe this is something I can do, and maybe I can do more things better instead of being bitter or what I have at home. I have a friend who can give me a different outlook as opposed to what maybe I'm getting at home.
That's right. And that's happening every single day somewhere in the world. I'm going to tell you, I am really proud of few of my friends because of what they have achieved. And I am more than happy knowing that I was part of this success.
Yeah.
Whether it was with an idea or a direct help to make sure that they could have a great life, the life that they are experiencing today, and they are passing those values to their children, and their children are going to pass to their next generation. So if I think about what I have achieved indirectly, impacting the life of a couple of friends that are shaping their communities, who are shaping the world where they are, where they interact every single day, what if more people consciously on this to make sure that we shape the world in a better place every single day? What do you think is going to be the result?
Yeah, if we keep trying to make it a better place, we have a greater opportunity to do so.
Yes, we are 8 billion people living on Earth right now. 8 billion people. And something that we need to look at is how little pieces of information create massive change. If you go to the media and you refer to any president in the world, not just in the US, any president, any leader in the world that drop those messages, those negative messages, create a huge wave of information, opinions, feelings, emotions, actions out of that. What if 8 billion people consciously, intentionally, just focus on creating a positive change every single day? And positive change is not just thinking about how to be positive. It's taking action about consciously and intentionally focus on the outcomes that you want to experience. What is the quality of the outcome that you want to experience every single day based on your emotion, based on your physical state, based on the harmony of your house, of your home? What are those outcomes, and how can you start influencing on experiencing more of what you want rather than more what you don't want?
Yeah,
Does it make sense?
absolutely.
Adding to it, look at today we are bombarded by digital information. Uh, I was running a workshop this week, and I was talking about the importance of being present
Mm-hmm.
on the social media market. But one of the things that we are exposed to is the negative information that also run every single day on social media.
Yep.
What you focus on, you attract the most. And that's something that the algorithm has shown every single day. Now, we have a list of influencers in our life who are on social media. And we listen to them, we watch them every single day, and we shape ourselves, sometimes influenced by them. But who are the first influencers in life? Who were the first influencers in your life, Nathan?
Yeah, my parents.
Your parents. Every single thing that you learned from 0 to 5 was coming from your parents.
Yeah.
Next, your extended family, your community, your school. Nowadays, school kids can have access to social media. Unfortunately, yes, but we didn't have that. The
No.
main influencers are our parents. The main influencer of my kids is me and their mom. So if we don't take care of the information that we share with them, on the teachings that we share with them, what do you think is going to be the destiny of those human beings?
Yeah, they're going to start
It's
taking that
going to be
influence from social media. Yep.
exactly. It's going to be influenced by other people, social media, the people in the community. If I don't take care of my community, what is the quality of the people that are going to influence their life?
Yep.
If I don't take care of what I'm consuming on the media, what is the type of people that are going to influence their lives? I'm coming from a communication background, and I tell you something, there are so much crappy content in the
Oh,
media,
yes.
so much crappy content running every single day on social media. We need to look at this. We need
Yeah,
to take care of this.
I think that's a big issue impacting the world now, especially for our children, is us as adults are able to decide what we want to see, what we don't want to see, and can take things a little bit differently. Even if we don't see something we don't like, we know, hey, I don't like that. It's not going to impact me. But with our children, especially younger children, and even in the teenage years, they're so impressionable about what they see and the environment around them that is one of my biggest fears is with we didn't have social media when we were growing up. So we didn't have that influence on us, but now they can get a hold of social media and see things that as a parent, you would probably never want them to see. And that's one of the things. I don't know if was it Australia that banned social media under a certain age? I'm not sure if it
Um,
was or not, but
there are a few controls here, which is focus on the age in which
Mhm.
kids don't supposed to have access to social media before 16 years old, if I remember well. But the reality is different. The
Yeah,
reality is
they
totally
can still
different.
get
They
it.
have access to being 8 years old. I saw
Wow.
some of the peers of my kid with access to Instagram and Facebook. Some of them, not all of them,
Mhm.
thankfully. But now in high school, it's a different level. Everyone have it.
Yeah.
Everyone have it. And,
Yep.
you know, we don't need to fear about social media, but we need to watch what's
Yes.
happening around it. What
That's a
type
great
of
way to put it.
content are,
Yep.
yes, what type of content are they consuming? And what type of information are we giving to them? Because if we are giving the information that are going to direct them to take the wrong decision for their life, they are going to take it.
Yep.
First influence is the parent. It doesn't matter how you think that the other people outside influence their life. First influence is the parents. If the
Yep.
parents don't coincide or don't act in synchrony to send the right message to the kids, kids are going to see the message as it coming from the external
Yep.
world. So you need to make sure that the world in the house, in the home, is is delivering the message
Yep.
that are going to shape them in a better way
And
to create
Angel,
a better human
that's a
being.
great point there too, because if parents are the number one folks that we're going to learn from or that are going to be impressionable on our lives, that means that us as parents have to make sure that we are there to be parents. You know, we can't be, as a dad, we can't be working 100 hours a week and never be home. Or as a mom, same thing, be working 100 hours a week and never be home. There has to be that work-life balance, because there, like you said, there's no more important job than being a parent and raising your child, you know, the right way with the values that you want to instill.
Yes, absolutely, Nathan. Absolutely. I agree with you 100% on this. I think that it's important to come to a conclusion to this conversation, as something that I want to leave with you and your audience is awareness. It's a call for awareness. It's so much important, mostly in this time, to be aware, to understand that your identity matters, to understand that your state, your emotional state matter, your psychological state matter. So be aware about everything that's happening inside, everything that's happening within, and be aware about everything that's happening around, because everything that's happening around influences what's happening within. We learn from our 5 principal sense in our body from the day 0, from the day 1 that we come to the world. We start learning, and whatever thing is around us is a piece of information that we learn that is stored in our brains, and from there, 90% of our decisions, our focus is triggered automatically for the information that is already archived in the subconscious mind. So you want to be conscious, aware about what's going on around you, because you are learning from your side. You are learning from your capacity to smell. You are learning from what you taste, what you touch, what you hear. So every single piece of information, audio, visual, is coming through your senses, is stored in your brain. And from there, 90% of your focus, your daily focus, is triggered by those things. If you take care of your environment, you take care of the things that surround you, you take care of your inner peace as well. If you take care of what you are feeling, what emotions that you are experiencing, and what are the emotions that you want to experience, you take care of your whole life. So this is important. Awareness about what's happening within, what's happening outside, because that outside influences what's happening within.
Absolutely. I love that. That's a great ending message. But Angel, I want to give you an opportunity. Do you have any new projects coming up, or is there the best way for our listeners or viewers, if they watch the video podcast, for them to get a hold of you as well?
Look, how people can contact me, all my social media, you can search for Coach Angel Gonzalez, Gonzalez double Z, say in the beginning, at the end. I am on Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook. What I miss, that there are many social medias nowadays. I am on YouTube as well. I am producing the life coaching podcast. I am administrating the life coaching community on Facebook. You are more than welcome to participate there. Every single week, I'm going live with a piece of coaching, with a capsule of information and education to bring these type of messages, to talk about the things that matter to every single person in this world. You can also check my website, Coach Angel Gonzalez. I love to participate as speaker in events, as speaker in podcasts. So how to contact me? Just search in Google, Coach Angel Gonzalez, and you are going to find me there on the first page.
Excellent.
The second thing about the projects, there are many projects coming up, but something that I'm working right now, I am helping brand new coaches to set up these type of businesses. Why? Because I want to help more people to replicate and multiplicate these type of messages. I truly believe in what I said before, which is we are 8 billion people in this world. The more people we add on this project, on this way of personal growth, the better the results that we can achieve to shape a better humanity, an upgraded humanity, and humanity 4.0. Now, I am working with coaches, mentoring coaches in order to set this type of businesses and replicate this type of messages, making more people that think positive create and multiplicate more positivism in this world. another project, I'm working with a transformational coaching as well, through which I help people to achieve the results that they want. Different project is a book that is coming up probably at the end of this year. It's about parenting, how we can parent kids that lead. So those are the main projects that I can talk about right now. There are many others still on the line, but we
Excellent.
start with these three.
Yeah. So all of our listeners can definitely follow you on your website. And I know I will have all of your information listed on my website as well, justadudepodcast.com. So we've got the under the show guests, all of your information will be there, Angel, and the guests can find you that way too. But yeah, just Googling Coach Angel Gonzalez will most likely find you, because that's how I found him. So, well, Angel, I want to thank you so much for joining us here on the show. And this has just been an excellent conversation. So thank you.
Thank you so much. Bye.
All right. Wrapping up another fantastic episode of Just a Dude podcast. Today's conversation with Angel Gonzalez has been nothing short of inspiring. We've journeyed through his incredible career from journalism to life coaching, diving deep into the essence of resilience, transformation, and chasing those big dreams. We talked about how to bounce back when life throws you curveballs, navigating through major transitions with grace and purpose, and the art of dreaming big while making consistent progress. Angel shared invaluable insights on communication, especially how to connect with your kids in meaningful ways through his book, 17 Faults Parenting Teens. If you're looking to connect with Angel or learn more about his work, check out his website and follow him on social media, all of which will be linked in the show notes and his guest profile on justadudepodcast.com. Don't forget to grab his book if you're a parent or know someone who could benefit from its wisdom. Thank you, Angel, for sharing your story and strategies with us. It's been an honor having you on the show. To all the listeners out there, if you liked this episode and it struck a chord with you, don't forget to subscribe to Just a Dude podcast on your favorite platform. Share this episode with someone who might need to hear it, and leave us a review. It really helps us keep bringing these authentic conversations to you. Until next time, keep pushing through your challenges. Dream big, and remember, you're just a dude or a dudette, but you're capable of extraordinary things. Catch you later.